Hey, I'm Amanda from theintuitivewife.com, working with women to bust through their energetic blocks and finally live their soul purpose. And if you suck at meditation, then you're going to want to watch this video. If you're watching this video, then you probably think you suck at meditation. And I could take the whole Zen approach about meditation and be like, it's a practice, it takes time, it'll get better, it'll get easier. No one wants to hear that shit. Instead, what I'm going to say is this. You don't suck at meditation. You just haven't found the right style of meditation for you yet. Meditation used to stress me out. That is, at least, until I discovered that there were different ways to meditate. There's a whole bunch of different styles. Today, in this video, I'm going to go through 4 of the most common styles, one of them being one that I hate the most, and one of them being my favorite way to meditate. When you think of meditation, it's so easy to think of it as completely upright in the mudras and and meditation doesn't have to be like that at all. It can actually be an enjoyable and relaxing and an even laid back experience. So with that being said, let's get into the first type of meditation. This type is called insight meditation. The goal of insight meditation is to use your breath as an anchor, meaning if you get distracted, all you need to do is bring your awareness back to your breath and steady your breathing. So if you find that you are getting distracted, or if you're like me and you have like 1,000 thoughts a minute running through your brain, then every time you have a new thought pop in or a new idea, or you just remembered something that you were supposed to go do, you just take a breath, try and push it out of your brain, and just focus on your breath and steadying your breathing. And actually, before we go into the next meditation, I do want to remind you that there is a proper way to breathe. Just in case you didn't know, we have all become so stressed out that we are actually, most of us, are shallow breathers, meaning we are breathing using our chest. So if you watch someone next to you next time you're on the bus or something, I don't know, you'll notice for the most part that their chest is going to rise, which means they are shallow breathing. When you are meditating, when you're breathing in general, but especially when you're meditating, you want to try to focus on expanding your stomach, your diaphragm, and then your chest. So if you look at a newborn baby, for example, they always they breathe properly. Somehow along the lines, we retrained our brains to no longer breathe properly and to stress breathe, or shallow breathe, I should say. So a baby actually breathes by expanding their stomach and their diaphragm, and then raising their chest, and then they exhale. So that's technically the proper way to breathe. So let's move on to the second type of meditation, which is a walking meditation. I personally think this is the easiest way to meditate ever because it's such a laid back approach. It's not really that serious. You can do it at your own pace. So a walking meditation is literally walking around the block or through a park or on a trail, whatever. The purpose of walking meditation is to focus on everything that's around you. So, for example, if you are taking your dog for a walk, and by the way, walking meditation is awesome if you have a dog because 2 birds with 1 stone, unless, of course, you are like me and you have a beagle who likes to stop and sniff at every possible opportunity. That kind of pulls you out of your little meditative state. So think twice if you have a hound. But if you don't have a hound, this is a perfect opportunity for you to walk your dog and get some meditation in at the same time. When you are walking, I'm just going to use the example of walking around the block because it's easy. You are going to try and get into a little bit of a zone. What I mean by that is you're going to focus on, think about your breathing, notice the thoughts that are running through your head. Just try and see if you can slow them down a little bit, While you're doing that, notice what's going on around you. Are the birds chirping? Are the leaves changing color? Are the leaves just starting to come in, or have they just started to fall off the trees? Are the flowers starting to blossom? Is it super, super sunny out and incredibly blue skies, or are the clouds really starting to roll in and it looks like a storm is coming? Basically, the whole point of a walking meditation is just to feel connected to nature. At the same time, you're going to want to try and quiet your thoughts, steady your breathing, and just take a nice assessment of your body. Notice if maybe your knee is hurting or you have a little bit of neck and shoulder stiffness that maybe wasn't there yesterday. And just remember to notice it, observe it, don't judge it. We already have enough judgment going on in our day. We don't need to add muscle tension into that pile as well. If you were watching my root chakra video, then you know that the best way to get in touch with your root chakra and to clear that energy out or to balance that energy is to be outside in nature. So not only is a walking meditation good for your brain and for meditating, it's also good for your root chakra. So there's another perk to this meditation style. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what your favorite kind of meditation is or where you're struggling with meditation. And if you're enjoying this video so far, hit like and subscribe. So moving on to the third meditation style, this is called a calming meditation. In my opinion, a calming meditation is really not that calming. Personally, I find it to be the hardest meditation style, but everyone is different, so I'm going to talk about it here anyway, just in case. Essentially, a calming meditation is where you focus on one thing only. That one thing could be your breath, it could be a mantra, it could be an object, and every time you find yourself getting pulled away from that thought or object, to just take a deep breath and bring your awareness back to that thing. Just like every other meditation, this can be as short or as long as you want it to be. But for the most part, you're supposed to be in a very quiet environment, focusing on one thing only. The fourth meditation style is actually my favorite meditation style, and it gets a little bit of flack, maybe not the right word, but because it's considered to be like a beginner's meditation style. I like it because it gets me out of my own head. I am less likely to have wandering thoughts pop into my head when I am doing this meditation because I'm focused on something else entirely. This meditation style is a guided meditation. Basically, a guided meditation is when you are listening to another person's voice guide you through a journey. I find a lot of meditations actually in general are visual meditation. So imagine you're in a field and you are hearing the birds chirping. Not everyone really likes visual meditations, or they sometimes struggle more with visual meditations. And if that's you, don't worry, there are other meditations out there, such as the ones where you tune into your physical body. When I was starting out and I knew that I just wasn't going to be able to quiet my mind to actually focus and visualize on something, I would specifically look for a meditation that would let me do a body scan. So a lot of times they're called body scan. It could also be meditation for muscle tension or something along those lines. And basically, your entire meditation is assessing your body. Where are you sore? Where are you holding on to things? What can be released? And just breathing into the tension and letting it out with each breath. Essentially, of course, everyone is different in how they guide you through that, but that's the general idea. And like I said, this is considered to be a beginner-friendly meditation style. So if you're just getting started or if you are just completely frustrated with meditation in general, then I would recommend guided meditation. Because if you're like me, when I first started with meditation, it's so good for you. It reduces stress. It helps your memory. Like there were all these benefits that people were saying. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'll give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? I hated it. I didn't know at first that there were different kinds of meditation, and I couldn't help but think of the super strict meditation or the meditation. Like that's all I knew at the time. So that's kind of what I tried to do, not knowing that that's like a super advanced, in my opinion, meditation style. Uh, Being a beginner, I was nowhere close to being ready for that. So I would try and sit there just in a quiet room and just close my eyes and take a few deep breaths. And I remember trying so hard to just shut off my brain. I don't know about you. I'm like impaired at shutting off my brain. I cannot do it. So, if you can imagine, I would get so frustrated when I was starting to meditate and I'm like, okay, all right, there's nothing happening in my head. All right, this is what meditation's all about. And I'd have maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute of silence. And then something would pop in my head. Oh, you forgot to send that email yesterday. I'd get so annoyed. Or even worse, when I was meditating in this quiet mind space, and all of a sudden I realized that I've been having an internal conversation with myself for God knows how long. I'm like, oh, here I was thinking I was meditating and being all quiet and focused, and really, I'm just so used to chatter up here that I didn't even realize it had turned itself back on. So when I discovered that there was something called guided meditation, I didn't really know what it was, thought I'd check it out, and I remember Googling guided meditations because at the time there weren't really any apps like there are now. Now I think there's Calm and Headspace and other ones that I literally cannot think of right now in this moment. But I came across a website that had a whole bunch of free meditations, and that is actually what helped me get over the hump or get over the frustration of not being able to meditate because I was able to focus on her voice. And even if I didn't really resonate with what she was saying, and yes, sometimes I would be listening to her and all of a sudden there's this other thought that would just like kind of like Pac-Man chasing the ghost. And I found the guided meditations to be so helpful because I was able to focus on something other than my thoughts. I was able to focus on her voice and what she wanted me to do, or imagine the picture that she was painting. But I found it way less frustrating than when I was doing the non-guided meditations. And I'm just going to throw it out there because it wasn't really something that was talked about when I first started getting into meditation, was that it is completely normal to have a million thoughts at once, to be in a meditation and to be all in the zone or not in the zone and still have a thought or two or 1,000 pop in your head. Like, we're human and that's just what happens. So if that's something that's happened to you, please just try your best. I know it's frustrating. Try to just take a step back and not be so hard on yourself because it's just something that happens. Even to this day, I do still have, even to this day, I still struggle sometimes with being able to quiet my mind long enough to do meditation. On those days, I usually need to end up journaling more because there's just too much going on. I need to get it all out, and then I can go back to meditating. With that being said, if you are new to journaling or are stuck with journaling or not quite sure what to do when it comes to journaling, then be sure to check out my journaling video. There's even prompts in there to get you started. I got you all set up. I got you, so don't worry about that. And I know I totally joked in the beginning about meditation being a practice and blah, 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 but it really kind of is. Like, it really is a practice of getting into a routine, experimenting and seeing what kinds of meditation work best for you, which ones aren't really your thing. So try and take it one day at a time. Try to not be so hard on yourself and not be so judgmental of yourself. I know it can be very difficult and very frustrating. As long as you remain open to experimenting and trying and giving it a shot, then it will, I promise, get easier. And I talk about all things metaphysical, woo-woo on this channel, so if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already so you can be notified of future videos.